Today let's have a look at this Parkside, this Detainer lock. And it might not look very interesting, but it's a bit more interesting than you would imagine. Let's compare it to the usual Chinesium lock, which I think this one also is. There is a size difference. And if you look at the keyway, there's also a size difference. And that size difference is significant. I actually had to make a custom pick for this. So as you can see, here you have the normal, the normal this Detainer pick, which is the size that everyone uses. And this is the pick I had to make for this lock. It's small. If you compare it, it's basically 2/3 of the size. And also if you compare it in width, you can see it's basically 2/3 of the size. So my 2mm plastic mold ejector pin was good enough, but it took some work. Then, sorry about all the grease, that's from the tool making and the locks. I have a 7mm aluminium tube, which fits nicely in the Chinese handles. I put a normal screw wall plug in the back here. That keeps it more centered because of course there's an enormous hole there in the tube. So that helps a bit. And I basically folded the prongs inside. So basically what I did is I took pliers, squeezed it here. And because this rod is in it, or something of similar size, that basically gives it pretty much the shape that you want to reach that tiny keyway. There's enough wiggle. I bend it slightly back so that it doesn't catch. And you see it got a bit mangled, but it still works sufficiently. So that's the tool that I had to make, which is quite significantly smaller compared to the normal one. And now that we have the tools, let's see if we can pick it. And then I have a bonus. Let's see if we can look inside. These are the keys of the lock. Here you have the bitting, nothing too spectacular, but you can't expect anything big from a lock like this. And I took one of the keys because you get way too many anyway with it, just filed it, and now I have a very nice disc turning tool which actually works on both sizes of locks. It's locked. Let's insert the pick. See if we can grab that front disc. I think we got that. See if I can hold everything together a little bit. And let's see what we can do with picking. The last disc I turned slightly and I felt some rotation. Like you feel the discs are a bit gritty. I feel more rotation on the tensioner. And we got this open already. Get the pick out. Lock it back up. And I'll see if I can do that again. Turned all the discs as far clockwise as they will go. Put in the pick. Pick up the last disc. And let's see if we can get this open. That was the last disc. That one feels basically okay. They don't have false gates, but they have poorly machined discs. So if I feel a lot of counter rotation, like here, if I turn the disc, the tensioner moves with it, then typically, but not always, you're basically doing something wrong, and it's open, as you can see. So they are fun little locks. Not all of them are equally easy to open. This one seems to be able to open with front tensioning as well, but that's not the case for all of them. And now let's have a look at this one. When I got this, I'll put a picture there. You can see that actually this gap is already there from the factory, which is a bit silly. So I figured, okay, it's already open anyway. Let's see if we can take this retaining cap off and look what is inside. Actually, I knew that would take force, but it takes quite some significant force. So I used the back of a file that I had, and basically that completely bent, which is remarkable, but it's an old file, so maybe that's why. Then I used scissors, which is reasonably strong, snapped right off. Then I used some other tools, and basically everything bent pretty much. But I got it off. This thing is kept in place with basically a circlip, picture there. And inside it we can see all the components of the lock. So there's the sidebar. Nothing too spectacular. And I haven't opened this yet, so let's see what happens. Here we have all the discs. I'll keep them in sequence, otherwise I go mad. So here you have the white section to make sure it doesn't rotate too much with the spacers. Then you have in between the discs, and here you have the gates. There are no false gates in this, as you can see. And for the size, and especially for the price, because these are extremely cheap, they are really worth buying and worth picking. And actually, for a small size padlock like this, to secure your suitcase or something like this, this is much better than the other stuff that is this small. It's much stronger, it's much harder to open, so I think I'm going to use it myself. You see the metal here broke. There's a crack there when I try to force it open. Here's the thing that keeps all the discs in place. Then I expect over here we should have the ball bearings and stuff like that. There we go. That's the ball bearing, and the other one I would expect also to be there somewhere, because it's retaining the, there it is, because it's retaining the, it's retaining the shackle. Alright, so now we have seen what is inside it, nothing too spectacular, but it's still nice. I'm planning on putting this back together and making it usable again. I didn't really break it in terms of functionality of opening and closing and picking, so I'll restore that. But there you go. This is the inside of such a small lock. Let's have a look at the amount of discs actually while it's open. Normally that's a bit more difficult to see. So this is a spacer. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 discs, which is really not so bad for its size. I wasn't really sure how hard this material is or what I can drill or not drill with it. I'm not a fantastic machinist at all. So I decided to drill through the thin bit there into the retaining disc, this thing on the outside here, and actually this works perfectly well. Open, closed, and now I have a rediscable disc detainer lock. Thanks for watching, take care.